All right, I'm on hole number one of the Winter Sun Tournament. I'm in the practice round in the rookie division. Let's go check out hole number one. Hole number one is going to be Koh Hong Resort. Hole number one. This tournament is Koh Hong Resort, holes 1 through 9, straight up. I'm going to come here and try the max overpower hook. So, what I've done in the past is when I'm fully extended, where I'm pulling it out there like as far as you can, like doing a max overpower shot, fully extended, my white ring is just barely into the rough, where I can see a little bit of rough, and then there's the fairway. And this image right here, where I'm out that far, it's somewhere in the half of that cut, somewhere in that neighborhood, and I ended up in the sand. Now, this particular tournament, or at least in this practice round, we have headwind. And I think we've played this hole 2 or 3 times, and we've always had either tailwind. I remember one time where we played this hole, it seemed like we had like a side tailwind. This is the first time with headwind, and it absolutely killed it. So instead of me being able to get in front of this with an extra mile, I was well back with my first bounce. Way back. And so I'm going to have to make an adjustment here on my setup. I have no idea. So if I'm getting that headwind again, I'm going to make a massive adjustment because I want to see if I can at least catch the fairway. So I have no idea. So let's just go play. Now let's go back. Let's make sure. Let's practice. And that was hole number 2. That's a good thing I did go back. Well, now that we're back, let's go back. Make sure I got the right clubs here. So I want an extra mile. I want a kingmaker. Enter practice. Hole number 1. I played that hole once before and was doing the same thing, was trying the max overpower hook shot. I've done this max overpower hook shot probably every single time we've ever played this hole in a tournament. And it was definitely different with headwind. Like, definitely different. Like a totally different shot. So if we have any headwind on here, I'll have to know what kind of adjustment I have to make for headwind. The main thing is getting it on video one time, it first bounce landing in the fairway, because then you can see forward trajectory, and then you automatically know like what you need to start doing in order to correct that trajectory, to swing that trajectory in one direction or the next. Okay, so I was out here fully extended out in the deal. That puts my blue ring off on the fringe. I'm going to come out where my white ring is off of that rough with this headwind. Three, 4. I'm going to do a 4-mile-an-hour pull. And I'm going to do an over pull against that wind. And I got all of it. Now let's see if I can just catch the fairway. If I can even a little bit catch the fairway. Just missed it. But I was going in the right direction, so I need to go out from where I was the first time. I just basically landed right in the sand. So from where I was there, I need to go out another half to 1 full ring. So when I go back and watch that video, I'll find the spot where I started. And I really think that that's the deal with I'll have to see what it does when we have any kind of tailwind to see whether or not that spot will work and I just need to move the wind out, or whether I need to go back to the other spot. That's the deal with these max overpower hook shots. There's a lot of holes that we've played max overpower hook shots over the years, and that's the only way we play them. And they've always given us favorable wind for that type of shot. But now with the variable wind, there may be rounds where we can do that max overpower hook shot, and there may be rounds where we have to go with a more traditional shot. And it's not that we wouldn't be able to do the max overpower, it's just that it's going to be very difficult to get the same results. Okay, there's min, and there's max, so there's mid. the way that... 2, 2, 1, 4. I'm going to do a little bit less than 2 rings. I'm kind of in between. And I hit it great. So it doesn't matter. The deal is I'm not going to worry too much about that particular landing spot, trying to figure out what the adjustment is at that landing spot, because that's not where I want to land. Goal number 1 is to get on the green or right off the green. If that's not possible, this rough that's up here at the front is typically a landing spot that you'll end up failing in the rough at the very end. Sometimes you'll get in that sand at the very end. Still got a little bit of work to do on this shot. Let's do this hole one more time. Let's do this hole one more time and see what... I'll have to tack. What I'll do is I'll stop this video. I'll watch it. Come back, shoot another one, and then we'll tack it on. But I'm going to play this hole a few times, and let's get a couple of them here on here. Hold on 1 second. Hold on 1 second. Where in the hell is my thing? Where is the record? My little record icon. What is it doing up there? Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, so where I had it set up on the first time through, as you can see, my white ring at rest is along that transition between the rough and the fairway. And what I want to be is out just a little bit more. And then I took the wind out and I added 20% onto the wind. So I did a 4-mile-an-hour pull instead of a 3-4, just because I was dealing with headwind. But even with that, I still needed to be out at least a ring. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my white ring on the transition between the first cut of the rough and the second cut of the rough, and then do my wind adjustment and go from there and see if that's if that gets me closer. So let's try that out. Hole number 1. Let's try it again. If at first you don't succeed, try again. If I can get an opponent, the dreaded 4-letter word, if. Maybe. I don't know. There we go. We got an opponent. Oh my gosh. Team Neo. What's up, Neo? I am the one. No, we got a different wind this time. So we'll try it with this wind and see if we're getting the same kind of... and I'm sure not getting headwind is going to change this totally. Because this wind right here is going to definitely affect the ball different. All right. Okay, I'm going to be, man, that is way the hell out there. I'm going to be half of that transitional. And I'm going to do just a little over a ring. A ring's 2-1, that was about 2-3. I got all of it. Let's see if we can catch the fairway. I want to catch the meat part of the fairway still in the sand. You can see how that wind affected that ball differently. I need to go out even more with that kind of wind. Or I could go in and it'll get me to the other side faster. Man, it's going to be hard to chase the wind around doing these max overpower hook shots. I'll have to go back and watch these videos and really think about how the wind is affecting them. Because I think what I did right there was I did the shot that I was just doing with the headwind, and what I should have been doing was the shot that I came here originally with. I'm going to try it one more time. You want to practice these shots, though, when you're in the... It's always good when you're practicing holes if you end up in a bad spot to practice. Number one, it gives you good information on how far in trouble you can be, and you can still fully recover, and there's no risk. And the other one is that you'll never get totally confident. And there's max. There's min. There's mid. That's 1.4 per ring. There's 2.8. I'm going to do it just a full 2-ring pull. Getting it perfect. See if we can get that to drop. Match up with our opponent and break their heart. Doesn't look like it. Underpulled it. Good game. Let's play that one more time and let's see which one of the wins we get. And depending on which way the wind's blowing, I'm going to set it up in one of two areas. If I'm getting headwind, I'm going to do what I just did. If I'm getting any wind other than headwind, I'm going to set it up in the spot that I originally came to this hole, which is quite a bit further to the right. But I think what that does is that you can... I'm trying to bounce really in front of the sand. If I can get matched up. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for joining the channel. Now, is Chris the guy or the girl? I'll say it's the girl. Could be the guy. Let's see how my opponent are using. What the hell is that ball? That's a rabbit ball. They'll be happy with that. They'll be happy with that spot. They wanted to get a little bit more up here, but that'll be a good spot. That spot will work. That duck will hunt, as they say. Okay, so I've got a tailwind, so I'm going to go back to my original spot. I'm going to leave the wind in. Oh, and I did not get it all. Almost slid through the sand. Almost. If I could have got a little more toss front on there. And I'm still way too far in, and if I would have caught all that, I probably would have ended up in the sand. So I'm not going out far enough. That shot's changed. Something in the dynamic has changed that shot since the last time we were here. I'll have to go back and look at that because I'm going to figure this out. Because I really want to do the max overpower hook shot on this hole. And I want to get some shots on it so that I can see what kind of trajectory I'm getting. Maybe a great to the right and a perfect. If the wind plays a factor, maybe a great to the left and a perfect. And that's not going to go in. That's a strange look I haven't seen before, coming up from the top. That's something new. Kind of gave me hopes there for a second that it was going to be one of those graphics where it falls in the hole. Although I couldn't find any scenario in my brain when I hit that shot where that far great to the right was going to go in. Ever. All right, back to the drawing board. Let's do that one more time. All right. Let's think about what I was doing here. I was not far enough out by a long shot. All right, one more time. One more, I'm glad. I'm going to go way and the hell out. I just want to see if I can get on the other side of the fairway, and then I at least know what my range is. Right now I'm still dinking around. I know in some wind situations where I can hit the fairway close on the right. So I've got plenty of room to move out more. If you move out, the whole deal is like normally, if I'm in a situation like this, like the first time I go, hey, I barely caught the fairway, and then I'll make a big jump. I'll move it out like 2 or 3 rings and see if I can get on the other side of the fairway. And then I know that my range is between these rings. But I didn't do that here, so let's do that right now. Okay, so we got the same kind of wind we had before. And I'm going to put as much topspin as I can get on there. I don't care if I go long. Yeah, that's where I was at last time. I was way too far in. There's a ring. I'm gonna go back out to that one. 2-3. I'm gonna do a 3 mile an hour pull. So that's once again a 20% overpull. And I caught all of it. And I like that bounce in the fairway, and that put me way over on the other side. So I know, like, now I can go back and look at the first one I did because it put me way on the right and that one put me way on the left. I probably need to be in about half a ring more to the right on the starting spot. Now we need to catch a headwind and see if we can work that same area. I'll go back and tack these videos together and watch that so I can really know where the spot was. My opponent does the same thing with a big club. And you could probably do this like that. And I'm trying to get it done without having to use a power 5 ball. That's the goal. Okay, I need to hit this perfect. Getting it perfect. In the hole. Right, that's what we're looking for on this. I'll stop this video like I did the last one. I'll tack them together. I'll go back and watch this one because I want to see where that landing spot was. Then we'll go back out, and if we get headwind, we'll start in the same spot and we'll take the headwind out May have to raise my, like I've been doing at 20% with the headwind. I may have to raise that up a little. But let's see if we can get a landing spot that can work, and then we can just change our wind adjustment percentage based on direction of the wind. Maybe that'll work. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, I'm at least tacking videos together today, so here we go. Hole number 1, let's try this one more time, and I'm hoping that I get headwind here. Okay, I went back and looked at where I set it up and where it was sitting at when it was at rest. I thought I was right on the transition between the first and the second cut of the rough, but I was actually just slightly into that. I think trajectory-wise, I need to be about 2/3 of the way through the first cut of the rough as the starting point, and then take the wind out. I want to get headwind here. We did get headwind. Okay, so I think where it needs to be, somewhere in that neighborhood right there. That's 3-3, that's 4. I'm going to do a 2-ring pull. That's roughly a 20%. And I got all of it. And look at how far that was in compared to the last shot with just headwind. That's how much headwind kills that shot. That many rings. That is like, I was started the last shot with tailwind. I hit almost the rough on the left-hand side of the fairway. And that shot right there with that type of headwind pushed me all the way to the other side of the fairway. Brutal. That is not good. That's going to be something you'll have to make a decision on this hole. Have to continue to work it. Grizzly. There's max. And there's min, so I'm right at mid, so it's 1.4 per ring. That's a 2-1, 1.4, that leaves me 6, 7. It's about a half a ring, so it's a ring and a half. Hitting it perfect. Getting hole. Not even close. From that spot out there. Now that's the same before. From that spot out there, that's like a 20% or more. When I was up close, I did a 10%, and it was right there in the hole, but from far back. So I'm just going to have to play this hole by ear. So if I'm getting headwind, I'm going to have to address that. I'm going to have to go back and watch those videos. I'll go back and watch these videos and really look at like when on the shots when I had headwind, because I ended up in the sand twice with headwind. One time I was close. But that is way off. That is definitely the deal is that it's that particular type of headwind. If you've got headwind that's blowing from the other direction, I think the deal is that it'll almost be the reverse. It's gonna push you way off to the left. That will definitely be a moving target. Now, I have some choices here. The other choice is, I'm not sure which Apocalypse my opponent used a minute ago, whether that was an APOC 5 or it looked like it was big. They used a Power 5 ball to get over. So, I mean, you could come out at that direction where you bring a big club that's got lots of curl and try and just pound it like my opponent did. Let's play it traditionally one time. And I think I can get away with playing them with the Titan, since I have more of those. Let's play this one more time. And let's play it traditional and see if we can get, let me look at that hole. I've played this hole before with a Titan, and it really, I'm not sure. Let's play it with a Titan and see what we can do. Let's just play it traditionally one time and see, because the deal is, I think with the moving wind, is that we're just going to have, that's one of those holes that if you've got that max overpower hook shot and the wind's blowing the right way, pop that out of the bag. But if the wind's blowing the wrong direction, if we're getting any kind of headwind, because headwind's going to change that shot so bad. That we need to swap to a different way of playing it. I can think of quite a few holes that, depending on which way the wind's blowing, dictates kind of which way you're going to go and which ball you're willing to pull out. Maybe I can get an opponent. Thanks, Oscar. Do it for Dale. Wonder if they're friends of Dale Appleby. Oh, accidentally went to this hole. This is not what I wanted to do. Wrong hole. You guys are getting a bonus content here. I wasn't paying attention. That guy charges too much. See if my opponent can get in. Which hole is this? This is hole number 2. So 5 backspin, dial in right hand side spin, 1 per ring, even though minimum club. I was using a nav. But that's from the rookie tees. From the pro tees, I'm going to use a Marlin as well. Minimum club for damn sure. Three, 5. I'm going to just do a straight up adjustment because I'm at minimum club. That's a 30% built in. I could do minimum club and then 30%, and that would put me back at 1 per ring. I think other than the grate that I did there, I'll have to go back and watch that, but I'm in the ballpark. I'm sure there's an adjustment that needs to be made, but if you're at minimum club, in that particular circumstance, it would be 1.3 per ring. And then if you made an adjustment, like I said, you'd be back at the 1 per ring. I try and stay at 1 per ring on any club that's 100% accurate. I try and do as many adjustments as I can at the 1 per ring. So it's like a lot of times you'll watch people's channels and they'll go, okay, we're at mid club and we're doing a 20% adjustment and we're doing this and that. It's like, okay, why don't we start at 1 per ring? And even if we have to take off some wind, 1 per ring is pretty easy to remember. Once you finish the first equation, you automatically know what the answer is. It says 3.4 rings. It's 3.4 rings because it's 1 per ring. You don't have to divide that number by something. As often as possible. Let's go back to hole number 1. Let's play this one more time. Let's try and play it in the traditional sense. Titan number 5 bag. just so I can get an idea of what. It doesn't matter whether I get up there or not. It's just so that you get an idea of what's possible with that club. These types of holes right here, because we're having to make that curve to the right, the obvious things that come to mind are rock and QB. There's probably a QB max overpower hook shot that's over there that you can do. That headwind's a problem. Big problem. See if my opponent can get it. Very nice. That's exactly what they were looking for. Very nice. That'll work. That was the shot they were looking for. Probably help if I switch to a Titan. The king of balls. That's right. You heard me. All right, here we roll. I got to remember it's not a max overpower hook. Hit it one ring grade on the outside. And with a 3 side spin ball, I could have gotten that extra little bit from right there. And I hit it one ring grade on the outside, which didn't help. But it is possible to get around that bend. I don't think that an extra or a Apocalypse 5 has enough top spin to get me all the way up there, but it'll be a close thing if you had your trajectory right. And that wind is obviously not favorable, but I think I could probably get a better result in a headwind doing that type of shot with a bigger power ball. And I could bring out, this would be one of those deals whereas if we were getting, I have to see how that shot works, but with a 4 power ball, I might be able to get over that to just drive straight at it. It may be better on a hole like this to bring out where before we could come out here with a power 3 ball and we could do a max overpower hook and get up to it. It might be better with the variable winds. And Playdemic is a ball manufacturer. This is, I'm sure, stuff that they've thought about with these variable winds. We're going to get on holes like this where sometimes we may be able to get it done with a power 3 and sometimes we'll have to bring out the power 4. And then we may find that we just like the power 4 shot better. And I didn't check my distance. Where am I? I'm pretty damn close. Hitting it perfect. Let's see if I got that right. Oh. That was that little bit of side. I addressed the forward wind a little bit more than I addressed the side. If I'd have started off a little more on the right hand side of the cup, that would have been there. That was me. That was me doing an eyeball setup. Which is, of course, what we're all supposed to do, right? Dumbass. It's a draw. All right, so we've seen hole 1, a bunch of different wind stuff, a couple of different types of ways of going at it, some with success, some without, more without than with. But to give you an idea, I think, and like I was saying, every single time, one of the things about these Kohong resort holes is when they first came out, going out here and trying to figure out, they're wide open. And so doing these max overpower hook shots, once we figure out where the adjustment needs to start with the wind that we're getting that week, it was fine. But now that we've got variable winds, those max overpower hook shots are going to be a bear on some holes. And I think this is one of those holes because of the terrain. We've got all this water and sand, and the way the wind affects your ball when you're in this type of conditions, when you're getting headwind versus when you're getting tailwind. We're going to have to do huge adjustments because that last shot, we had wind that was blowing one of these directions with a headwind. I started off white ring at rest about a third of the way into this cut, took out the wind and some, and still ended up getting pushed off into the sand. Whereas the shot before that, where I had tailwind, I set up in the same exact spot, left the wind in, so it pushed me forward a little bit more, and I hit out here. I mean, this is a huge swing. For in this area here, I might have had a third of a ring difference. The only difference really in the shot setup was the direction of the wind. And with a head side wind, it pushed me off the entire width of the fairway. Same exact starting spot. So that's huge. So that means that if we've got any kind of headwind on a hole like this, we're going to have one shot set up at least for all of the headwind that's in this quadrant. And we may have to have a second one for everything that's in this quadrant. And I think any kind of tailwind that we're getting, we can work that out in the shot. I think we can end up with that result where we can get pushed forward a little bit and it'll help the shot out. I'm going to take a look at the shot, the traditional shot, because if we're getting a headwind here to get out in front to go straight at the cup, you're going to have to bring out a 4-power ball or bigger. If we're getting any wind other than a headwind with a max OP shot, I think you can get out there. But if you brought out a power 5 ball, I think you could just set up out there and then go forward. You may have to put overpower on it if you don't have enough topspin to get you all the way to the cup. You may have to put overpower on it to get you farther out here on your bounce. But I'm going to have to continue to work on this hole and see how I want to play it. I'm not convinced. I think if I'm getting any kind of a tailwind, I'm doing this max overpower hook shot. But if I'm getting any kind of headwind, I'm going to do this shot over here. And I probably will bring out like a power 4 ball. That's my plan. Maybe. All right. That was hole number 1 of the Winter Sun Tournament. Koh Hong Resort. Thanks for watching.